14 out of 14 channels. We are live on all 14 channels. There goes the notifications, and you might notice that I am pointing at a hawk that is sitting right outside. I mean, I've got the window open right now, and it is literally about 20, maybe 25 feet away from me, just sitting there, looking for something to eat on the ground, looking for a mole to grab. What do you guys think? Is that cool?
Kevin Vaught.
Start the show off with a hawk
Hashtag
right at the
NLRC.
beginning. Huh?
Cheers, nay. Hashtag Oxproject.
Pretty proud of myself, I must say. I was like, I need to go live now before that bird flies away. I wasn't ready, and I was like, oh, well, it's better to have that hawk at the beginning of the show, you know? Because it's so cool, man. It's so cool. He might even fly down and grab something off the ground and eat it in front of us, which would even be cooler. So, I've got an article from the Washington Post that I want to just show you how even when everybody knows what's going on, even when everybody is fully aware of the monumental suffering that people are going through over there in Ukraine and Russia right now. And they continue to put up these articles to
Merc 83.
Hey, Merc.
Well, hello.
To paint their narrative. Oh, let me fix this. Hold on one second. I got to turn on my, I did see, I wasn't ready to go yet. God damn it. I got to turn on my Bluetooth, man. My Bluetooth speaker. So give me a second here. Okay, that's not working. Let's try this one. Oh, there it goes. Great. Okay, we got sound. Okay, great. There's the sound. Here comes some more notifications. They blocked the notifications. Some re-engineer over there at Microsoft Windows. Oh, look. He's literally going to eat. He's digging a mole up out of the ground right now.
To ruin.
He's literally digging a mole up out of the ground right now. You get to see him do it. I told you, I watch them do this all the time. Someone was like, maybe they're just eating lizards. I'm like, lizards don't live underground, dude. These things see the ground moving. They don't want a lizard. They want that freaking mammal. They don't want a reptile. They want a freaking mammal. You know, they want that warm-blooded animal. And they go after they'll see a million lizards and ignore them. Oh, now he's right here, man. Now he's right here. God, I wish that frost was inside so I could wipe it off, but he's right there, man. Digesting. God, he's so beautiful. I hope I don't scare him away when I open this window.
Out to ruin. It's got to be warm-blooded. Allowed to ruin. In fact, some can even see the heat. Some animals can see the heat, although other animals' bodies.
Like infrared? I've never heard that before. Like Predator. Hawks are like Predator. Dude, he's sitting. He is just sitting on this. I'll move this so you guys can see it. I had the window open so I get a really good view of him like this. But you can see him. He's sitting right there, man. So beautiful, man.
Nay, what up, my brother?
Hey, Joe. Let me say hello to all of you. Allowed to ruin. Hello. Welcome back to the show. Kevin and Big Merc. What's up, guys? How's it going, everybody? I got a hell of a story for you guys. You know, another narrative-shattering day here at Nay's Garden, and I think you guys are going to you're going to start getting it. If you are still on the other side of this and you support America and you support Ukraine, you're going to want to watch this show. And you're going to want to hear how the narrative gets manipulated. Okay? So let's just set it up. All right? So everybody knows Ukraine in a joint, probably operation with the United States.
Hi, nay.
Or maybe it was just the United States, but it was the United States for sure. They went and they destroyed, well, they tried.
I know can see like not necessarily red. They don't necessarily see red, but they can see like when you're looking at a flame on the stove and you can see that.
You see the heat. Yeah, it's crazy. Andrew, hey.
Allowed to ruin. Like when you look at the flame,
see the heat coming off of it like that vapor. Yeah.
It's clear they can see that coming.
Because they've got really good eyesight, so they can see that. Yeah, the warmth coming out of the ground. Oh man, who knows? Let me turn your volume up here so we can hear you guys better. Here we go. This should help. Now you guys will hear your voice. I want to give my audience a voice in the chat. So let me set this up for you. So the United States went over and attacked Russia's Nord Stream 2 pipeline, Nord Stream 1 pipeline. They put some charges on it. They tried to blow it up. They damaged it. Russia immediately went in there and repaired it, right? Or they lowered the pressure, whatever they did, and they didn't end up losing their ability to still profit off of their energy export, right? So the next thing that happened was, a week later or so, I don't know the exact timeline, Ukraine sends, and without the driver knowing it, they used a man that was driving a truck and they remotely detonated this guy's truck, and he didn't even realize he was being used by the Ukrainian army as a suicide bomber. Can you imagine that? Now, you can say all these missiles flying in from Russia and destroying apartments and women and children being killed and maimed and all. It's fucking horrible. But,
Mark 83.
When you
Twittersphered.
When you put a guy in a truck and tell him to go drive you a bunch of fertilizer across a bridge somewhere, and he thinks that's all he's doing, and you end up just detonating him and using him as C4, human C4, you're going to have a very hard time convincing people about war atrocities being committed by your opponents, Russia. Because you're committing war atrocities too. And when you blew that man up on that bridge, man, I don't care how much damage you did or how many people were killed or whatever, you did the exact same thing. You stooped to the same low level that you're accusing Russia and Vladimir Putin of. So it's going to be really hard for you to try to win folks over when you do this. And I saw that for what it was, and I said, and let me set this up a little bit more. Within the last month, Russia was pulling troops out, and we covered it on the show. And I said, I don't know much about war. I play video games. But from what I've seen, it doesn't really strike me as a retreat. It's not like they were running because they were under fire. What was funny was, as they turned and ran, Ukraine rushed in and started shooting them in their backs and calling themselves heroes. And I'm like, yeah, you got a few Russian soldiers and you got a few tanks laying over there. But where's the rest? Where's everything else? Where's the entire Russian military? Where's the tanks? Where's all the armored personnel carriers? Where's all the missile launchers? Where's all the soldiers? Well, my guess was that Vladimir Putin was pulling all of his troops back because they were going to attack somewhere else, and he was going to need all of those assets for something big. And he decided they had already moved into all these territories, and he had the referendums, and they voted, and he won those territories over. He claimed them as Russia, so why keep your troops there? It's yours. You already claimed it. It's yours, right? And if people want to come in there and try to fight over whatever, why should you use troops? You've already claimed that. And you'll be able to clear that out in time, right? You don't have to worry about that right now. And that's what I was thinking. I'm like, why should you sit there and hold a bunch of barren land? It's got nothing on it. We saw the land. It was woods and fields and open plains. There was no infrastructure. There was nothing. It was just open land. And it served no purpose except as a buffer. So what happens? Ukrainian army moves up, Russia moves back, and then boom, they suckered him in, they rope-a-doped him. And I said this the other day. I said, that's exactly what Putin's doing. He's acting like he's fainting back. He's letting that other country throw all their punches, and punch themselves out. And then he's going to come off those ropes swinging. And that's what we've seen for the last 3 days now. a barrage of missiles and drone strikes. No soldiers, no ground warfare, right?
Morning Nay.
It's like so many other, like 300. It's like so many other war movies you've seen where one army is just smarter than the other one. And they're doing tactics. They're doing military tactics that we're all aware of. We've watched movies. We watched 300. We understand a corridor. We understand an outnumbered army. We understand, tricking someone into an area where all of a sudden they're going to be surrounded. You bring the Ukraine army back forward and then you start shelling them. You start missile striking them. You start killing them. It's pretty cut and dry. It's pretty cut and dry basic military stuff that I don't know anything about. I'm just an armchair quarterback here, and what I see is so plainly obvious to me that I don't understand why other people don't see exactly what it is for what it is, right? Like I do, right? Let me close my stuff up here. Give me a second here. I don't want to compete with my mom. She doesn't like when I start spouting the truth, so she's going to be in there and act like she doesn't hear me, and then she's going to start getting really loud like she does.
Rodriguez.
She tries to shout me down. And
Proxy
shit.
war.
Exactly the game, but I know the game. I am very familiar with the rules. You know what? You want to beat them at their own game. Learn their rules, play by their rules, right? And then beat them at their own game. That's what I'm going to do right now. So, imagine my frustration over the mainstream media reporting on this when I realize how off it really is. What is this? What is this? Oh, it's a little bit of a condition. I got a little condition in my hair there. It didn't go in all the way. I just had to put conditioner. It's a long story. I don't like to talk about my conditioner. Anyway, proxy war. Yeah, hey Ronnie, what's up, buddy? Good morning, Zena. Okay, Cassie, good morning. Let me just turn my brightness up a little bit. Okay, we good there? Okay, I think we're good. All right, so when I look at a mainstream media report on this, it doesn't reflect the facts of what's going on over there. So a whole bunch of people got killed, right? I was watching a CNN report this morning with Don Lemon. Oh, I think it was pre-recorded. We're going to be able to watch it. And it's so good. It's so good, and it has everything to do with what we're discussing right now. And I think you guys are really going to appreciate the fact that I found this video. Imagine the frustration I get when I see them lying to you guys, to my mother and everybody that watches mainstream media, when I see something like this. This is from the Washington Post, right? Russia's airstrikes intended to show force reveal another weakness. Okay, so let me just stop that right there. Okay? Russia's airstrikes were not intended to show force. Russia doesn't do shit to show force. They didn't line their troops up on the Ukrainian border to show force. They lined their troops up on the Ukrainian border because they were going to move into that motherfucker. They weren't making a statement. Russia doesn't make statements. So they weren't intending to show anybody anything. So that's bullshit. Right there, that line, intended to show force. Really, you know what Vladimir Putin's intention was? You fucking idiot. Robin Dixon, who the fuck are you? What, are you inside Vladimir Putin's head? You think you know what his intentions are? I think I know exactly what his intentions are, just as somebody who's fighting American imperialism, like I've been doing for years. I understand. He wants to fucking win the war. He's not trying to show force. He's doing what he thinks he has to do to win this motherfucker. What did he do? He pulled all of his troops back. He pulled all of his equipment out. He let these suckers move in to the territory. Oh, look, we took all the territory back. We're winning. We're winning. We're winning. Right? And then all of a sudden, the airstrikes start. And the people start dying. And now they don't know what to fucking do because there's no Russians there to fight. There's just missiles dropping from the sky.
It's the art of war.
It is the art of war. And all these motherfucking cucks don't seem to know any of it. They don't seem to get it. Look at this. Intended to show force. Reveal another weakness. Really? Because they just sent 84 missiles into Ukraine and they hit more than 40 settlements. Man, that doesn't sound like a show of weakness to me. And yet they're going to word this so that you'll feel good about your little blue and yellow flag that you wipe your fucking dick with. You know, you're gonna fucking, oh, I got a blue and yellow flag. Oh yeah, we're gonna do war. Yay. You fucking idiots. This is what you're getting, okay? Russia's gonna win this. And they're gonna make you look really bad while they do it. They're gonna make you look like a sucker. So just stop supporting American imperialism, man. Realize what it is,
So,
understand who's behind
war.
it, and don't be one of those fucking cuck
Allowed to
bitches.
ruin. Honestly, fuck Ukraine.
Honestly, right? 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 I agree with that sentiment. I agree with that sentiment. I don't even have to call them a bunch of Nazis. I don't have to do any of that shit. All I have to say is, hey man, you guys asked for this. You called for this. You wanted to fucking not like Russian speaking people. You wanted to be segregationists. You wanted to be haters. You know, you brought this on yourselves. It's not our job to help you out of this. It's not America's job to help you.
And I'm a Republican, and I still say fuck Ukraine.
Wow, Allowed to Ruin is a Republican watching my show. Holy shit. Hey, man, just because you seem kind of smart to me, are you a non-Trump supporting Republican? And I'm not setting you up to fail here. If you support Trump, you support Trump. I like you anyway.
Hey, and I hope you are well, mate.
I just hope that people see Trump for what he is. I hope Republicans can see Trump for exactly what he is. You know, especially after yesterday. I mean, there was so much great information that came out about January 6th yesterday. I watched. I hope you guys have been paying attention. I don't really need to bring it to the show because we all...
Rodriguez.
No.
Do you think Putin will drop a nuke?
No, I don't. He doesn't need to. He's got the whole world petrified right now. And he doesn't have to do that. He's doing what he has to do to stay ahead. And when I show you this thing from CNN, oh, we're going to laugh and laugh and laugh. And you know what? We didn't even get into this article yet. I'm going to go straight to the YouTube thing, and then we'll come back to this, okay? Here it is. I got the video. Here it is.
Ukrainian forces advancing in Russian-occupied territory, pushing further into the
Allowed to ruin. Go Trump. Zena Ennis.
Go Trump. Oh, you're a Trump supporter.
I enjoyed it. Trump is a turd.
Dude, I have a hard time. Young. I'd like you if you didn't like Trump.
Hey, and I hope you are well, mate.
But you're a fucking Trump supporter, dude? Oh my God, really? How disappointing. Let me pull this up in the right window. I got the wrong one up here. Give me a second. Oops, I should have just done this. Here we go.
Ukrainian forces advancing in Russian-occupied territory, pushing further into the southern Kherson region. That area is one of the 4 regions Russia has claimed as its own.
Right.
Zena Ennis.
Right.
It hurts my heart when people are blind to the truth.
Yeah, you know. What he just said is, oh, you know, Russia's already reclaimed these areas, and now Ukraine is moving back into them and taking them back over. And this is what I'm telling you. No, they're not.
I agree with a lot of what you say.
They're not taking it back over.
Even if I don't agree with some of it, I won't listen just because I don't agree. Allowed to ruin. I have no problem listening to the other side.
Yeah, I generally don't have a problem listening to the other side until you start lying to me. You know, and if you're going to sit here and tell me that you think Trump is a good leader, then we've got a serious problem. I thought I was going to like you. And now I'm thinking about, Jesus Christ, what the fuck are you on the other side of that screen, you know? You support Donald Trump, man. That's a serious discrepancy in your inability to see the truth. Your inability to see facts.
All well.
I'm not telling you, I don't like Biden, bro.
Big Merc.
I don't like the Democrats. But I don't like the Republicans either, and you have to fall in the middle of that. Because if you're on one side or the other, you're just as stupid as everybody else. You know? So please, man, reconsider it. Reconsider your support for Donald Trump. And try to explain to yourself why you support Donald Trump. You know, I don't even want to get into this. I don't even want to talk about it. I just, it's a waste of my fucking time. This is much more important. What's going on in this conversation here is much more important. I want you to listen to the way Don Lemon and CNN are painting this, okay?
Ukrainian forces advancing in Russian-occupied territory.
They're advancing. You know, they're not advancing. They're just moving their troops back into where Vladimir Putin is allowing them to move into.
You have to remember one side cannot control everything. We own the government buildings, so the group of people decide that they want to storm the Capitol. They have a right to do that because they allowed to ruin. Own it.
Yeah, no, dude. I'm not going to sit here and argue January 6th with you. Now you're blocked from my live stream and don't come back. You're a fucking idiot. What happened on January 6th was a fucking abomination. And you know what? Luckily, we had Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell and fucking, and a few other people in our government high up that decided to go ahead with that fucking, with that presidential election. Good for them. Good for the Democrats. Good for Mitch McConnell that went in there and did that shit. And there was a few other, I can't remember their names. I watched the videos and you guys probably didn't. Yeah, I watched what the Democrats did on January 6th. And you know what? They made Republicans look like cunts on that day. January 6th makes Republicans look like a bunch of dumb cunts. And it made the Democrats look like fucking heroes. Because while there were thousands of people beating on those fucking doors, old-ass Nancy Pelosi was in there getting that job done. So you can say whatever the fuck you want to about Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, but she did her fucking job. And you know who didn't do his job? Was fucking Donald Trump that day. So, I mean, you don't want to look at the evidence. You don't want to look at what happened on that day. That it just goes to why I'm right about all this, and you're wrong because you won't even look at the evidence behind what happened. It's all video evidence. It's all recorded history. The phone calls that were made, the texts that were sent. So, you know, I'm assuming that guy that was just in here that I blocked, I'm assuming that he doesn't watch the news at all. Didn't watch the January 6th hearing at all. And I guarantee a lot of y'all didn't do it either.
Good morning, bro.
Because you find it boring and stupid and out of your circle of information that you want to include inside your brain. But I'm telling you, man, when it comes to your leadership, when it comes to the person that rules over you, you probably should start paying attention, people. I don't know how else to get you guys interested in this stuff. I hope that you start taking an active role in your own future. And I'm not telling you to vote. I'm telling you to fucking listen to what's being said around you. I'm telling you, take notice when you realize somebody's fucking silencing people based on the color of their skin or their affiliation or whatever. Take notice when people are trying to shut you up. Take notice when those motherfucking cunts went over there to January 6th and tried to take over the Capitol while they were trying to do a duly elected president, right?
About Ukraine.
He totally won that fucking election. They were just trying to do their job.
James Young. Youngsy Harvey is in the house. Hope everyone is okay.
Hey, Youngsy Harvey. No, they don't have nuclear weapons, Zena. No, Ukraine does not have nuclear weapons. They're a rather poor country. And they don't have nukes. I'm sure they would. Zelensky would have used them on Russia by now. Zelensky's been begging America to fire nukes into Russia. Do you guys know that? Yeah, Zelensky tried to start a nuclear war a couple of days ago. I didn't talk about it on the show. You know, probably because my YouTube channel will get a strike against it for saying that. But he did. And it's on Twitter, and you can go see it. You know, he literally told America, you guys need to do a first strike on Russia. Not wait for them to send the first nuke. You need to send the first nukes into Russia. Yeah, these are the people that, you know, when you wave that blue and yellow flag, you're cheering on a nuclear war.
What?
You didn't know this. Jesus Christ. I'm afraid I'm going to have to start bringing more of this into the show, man, for you guys, because you guys aren't paying attention to what's going on in the news. I have the news on all the time over here, man.
LOL Nancy and Chuck losers. Destroying America. We need fighters like Ron DeSantis and Trump. Wake up and save America, people. Your side lies and makes up stuff.
Yeah. They're the losers that upheld America's Nancy and Chuck. Thank you. It was Chuck Schumer. Thank you, Alicia. It was Chuck Schumer was the hero. Wow, some Republican came in here and gave me Chuck Schumer's name so I can fucking promote him. Yes, it was Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell that were in there that were making sure democracy happened.
You also
yeah, thanks, Alicia. That was hilarious, you
for
fucking dumb
research.
cunt. Thank you. God, you're an idiot. Thank you, Joe Whalen. He says, y'all should listen to me on this. Good information. Do your research. It's too bad so many Republicans come in here to try to check up on me and see what I'm saying. You know?
You don't even know what happens. You're lost.
Oh, I don't know what happens? Okay. All right. Well, you know, Nancy and Chuck are destroying America by making sure that the president got elected. They did
heroes like Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, they were the only people that
I can't even.
They made sure that the president got elected that day. That's what Nancy did. That's what Chuck Schumer did. They made sure that the paperwork went through. They made sure that they stayed in session. And even though you had a bunch of cunts outside the fucking Capitol trying to get into it, they still elected Joe Biden. That's gotta suck for you. Oh, they did their jab. They did exactly what they were elected to do. They did their jabs and they did them good.
It's all a
under duress. It's all a construct? Well, yeah, that's true. But it was the Democrats who made sure the president got elected on that day, not the Republicans. It was the Democrats that did it. It was Nancy Pelosi's big ball sack that made it happen. And if you go watch the video, which I'm sure none of you guys wanted to watch, you can go see Nancy Pelosi being a hero. It's amazing.
Alicia Relots. Republicans. My husband fought for your dump ass to speak your craziness.
Yeah. So both of my uncles fought for your dump ass.
They stole the election
to speak your fucking craziness. So go cunt off. And you know, in fact, Alicia, if you're just here because you like being called a cunt, then I understand why you married a Republican man. Ah, you stupid cunt.
Listening, driving.
Because that's what he thinks about you too. They all do. They hate women. They hate women. They don't want you to have fucking choice over your own bodies. No autonomy for women. Yeah, go marry a Republican man, you fucking dumb cunt. God, are you kidding me? Freaking Oracle. Everybody check out the Freaking Oracle show on YouTube. Check him out. He's good. He's very good. He doesn't talk politics. Go get him. The Freaking Oracle show. He's great. Anyway, let's get into this. So like I said, before we get into the Wapo, okay, before we get into the Washington Post thing, listen to Don Lemon painting the image that Ukraine is taking this war back over.
Treason to the democracy of the U.S.
It makes them look so poor. It makes their reporting look so poor, man. Like, you're totally getting this wrong. And no matter what words you use to describe what's going on there, the facts are still going to come out. And you're going to hear the facts come out in this broadcast right here, which is what makes this so sweet. It's 8 minutes.
Territory pushing.
Check it out, guys. You're going to laugh your asses off.
That area
Trust me.
is one of the 4 regions Russia has claimed as its own after holding sham referendums.
They either spit hate or max out dad's credit.
Dude, that's true. I've never met a nice Alicia either. Wait, no, I take it back. I do know a nice Alicia. I do know a nice Alicia. My bad. Yeah, there is a good Alicia out there.
And President Vladimir Zelensky touting the success of what he calls the fast and powerful advance. So joining me now, Democratic Congressman Jason Crow, member of the House Armed Services and Intelligence Committees, and CNN military analyst Colonel Cedric Layton. Good evening to both of you. Thank you so much. Colonel, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Ukraine appearing to keep up its momentum.
Okay. You see the guy with his eyes closed in the top right corner? See that guy? That guy's going to destroy everything that Don Lemon is trying to build. John Lemon is trying to build let's say, a straw man. Okay, he's trying to build a straw man. And that guy over there is going to bring a flamethrower to the party. Watch.
With these new gains. So give us a lay
now,
of
this
the land
dumbass
here.
down here with
What
the
is
map,
happening
he's going
with
to try to
Ukrainian
explain to you why Russia's
counteroffensive,
losing this
and
war,
why is it
which
so
is hilarious.
successful?
Watch this.
Well, this is really interesting, Don, because what you see, when you look at the map of big Ukraine,
No law regarding cannabis, everybody.
you've got some significant advances that the Ukrainians were able to make in the area right near Kharkiv. So everything to the north and east of Kharkiv has been part of the scene that they've really been so successful at. And when you look at the advances specifically, you see that the 4 regions, these are the ones that Putin has said he's going to annex. And we're talking about Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. These 4 areas right here. Look at how much the Russians actually control. They basically control these areas right in through here. But everything that you see...
Morning May hashtag cheers.
Look at that green line. This guy just undercut his whole theory too. He just drew a green line across there, and then he said, "Well, Russia basically controls all of this."
So maybe you STFU.
Hey, John Doe, you don't get to come in here and talk to Zena like that. So I'm going to block you. All right, John Doe? Go fuck off. You're a dumb cunt. Nobody talks to my ladies that way. All right? You don't come in here and disrespect my ladies. Fuck you.
But everything that you see is being contested by the Ukrainians. And what's particularly significant about
everything you see is being contested. You know what that means? It means that they're saying,
Zena,
oh, but we don't want to give you our land.
I don't argue with ignorance.
No, and you shouldn't, Zena. I took him out of the mix.
This is
I'm not going to argue with an asshole like that either.
They're getting a hold of all of the
names.
logistical resupply areas that the Russians have in this area. That's significant because potentially what they can do is they can cut off the Russians and move them out of this area back into Russia.
Did you hear that? Potentially, this is what they can do. They're going to move the Russian army out of this area. Well, the Russian army's already fucking gotten the fuck out of there. What are you talking about?
Which is right here. Now, when you go into the Kherson region, which is in the southern part right here, look at what the Ukrainians have done here. The object is to get Kherson, which is a Ukrainian city that the Russians occupied at the early part of this war. Right now, they are finally moving forward, and they've gotten villages at, like this one at Velika.
Right now, they're finally moving forward. You know, they've been reporting that Ukraine's been encroaching for like 2 weeks. You know, and right now they're finally moving forward. Well, when were they moving forward, buddy? Which was it? Was it 2 weeks ago or is it now?
Rivka, and another one at Davidiv Brid. These are important villages because what they do is this begins the process for the Ukrainians to move around like this.
This begins the process. Oh, okay. We're beginning the process of allowing the Ukrainians to move around. Oh.
And if they do this, they can cut off the Russian forces that are in Kherson and also...
And if they do this, you guys hear all these weasel words? So in other words, Ukraine ain't done shit yet, but here's this big map and all these lines and my hands moving around and me talking a lot, and you're just supposed to assume in your dumb fucking skulls that Ukraine is making some advancements here.
Bank of the Dnieper River, and that is a big deal for them at this point.
It's a big deal that they haven't done a goddamn thing, right? So that's it. Now here comes Mr. Flamethrower. Watch this shit. That was a lot of straw that homeboy brought to the fucking straw man building day. Okay, he was hosting a little fucking play date with everybody. He's at a little straw man building day, and that guy brought all of his straw, and homeboy forgot his straw at home. This motherfucker brought a goddamn flamethrower. Watch this shit.
Because the U.S. announcing today an additional $625 million in security assistance to Ukraine.
Really?
But we know the Ukrainians
really only a little bit more than $500 million. Wow, we've really cut back on the amount of money we're sending Ukraine. That should be what you're saying. Why is the United States sending all this massive amount of money that they used to? Well, they're sending $650 million, right? Really? Dude, the takeaway there is America is sending less and less and less money to Ukraine. Oh, and trust me, Russia's blowing all our shit up, man.
Long-range rockets from the Biden administration. Do you think the U.S. is providing enough to the Ukrainians?
Okay. Now, of course, the answer to that question is no. Of course, they're not providing enough, because if they provided enough, they'd be able to win the war. They're not providing enough. This is what America is doing. America is providing just enough weaponry to Ukraine to prolong this war for as long as they can, so they can keep generating money off of it, because this is how our government and the people affiliated with our government, the corporations, make their money. And this is also how Don Lemon makes his money. So the longer that Don Lemon can extend this war, the more advertisement he'll get from BlackRock and Northrop Grumman and fucking Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and fucking all of these goddamn war criminal fucking these corporations that advertise on CNN. So he is the mouthpiece for the war. Don Lemon is here to sell you this war. And he's bringing all of this straw, right? All this straw to try to build you up to think that this war is going good. Watch what happens.
We're doing a remarkable job of supporting the Ukrainians, and this administration has moved massive amounts of equipment and weapons to the Ukrainians in really historic speed. But there's more to this story as well. We're also providing intelligence support.
Okay. He's right now. It sounds good, right? It's like, build me up, buttercup, right? He's just building you up right now. He's just building you up, right? Watch.
Also providing.
Yeah, he brought a little bit of straw. Oh, yeah, America's been doing a great job supplying Ukraine. Dude, where would Ukraine be without any of the American support? Where would Ukraine be today without American support? Russia would own the whole goddamn Ukraine. They'd have the whole country, wouldn't they?
We're providing strategic support and planning support.
Right.
There are so many things that we're doing that are
Israel,
Elon Musk, to win.
All kinds of shit.
It's astonishing, actually, what's happening. 6 months ago, nobody would have given the Ukrainians a chance because on paper, the Russians had every advantage. They were the second largest military in the world. They had every advantage.
It's hilarious.
Analytical perspective. But this shows that
you are not going to believe where this goes, guys. You are not going to, after what he just said, you're not going to believe what's going to happen when he pulls out the flamethrower.
Paper armies do not fight.
I got to smoke because I'm so excited to show you guys this.
So all of the problems
no law regarding cannabis. Cheers.
Encountering are showing the dark underbelly of the Russian military, but it's also showing the courage, the prowess, the bravery, and the will of the Ukrainians.
Colonel, I want to talk about this new aid package. It includes 4 more high mobility artillery rocket systems, as well as additional howitzers and ammunition. How important are these weapons to the Ukrainians?
Don, they're incredibly important because when you look at a weapon system like the HIMARS, for example, and here we have a graphic to show, depending on the type of model,
they're selling you this equipment, guys.
It can have a range of up to 300 miles. Now, the Ukrainians right now,
we're going to show you all the stats. It's like a video game.
And
I feel like I just turned on Battlefield 4.
But this is what this is capable of. It can also, the other key thing here, and this relates to the ATACMS system that is can be launched from a HIMARS launching system. But these weapons,
look, he's putting his hand on the screen like Vanna fucking White.
What they enable is the targeting of all of the different.
A new car! So wow, look at this missile launcher. Right here, it's coming to you, Ukraine.
HIMARS located
I feel like I'm on the Price is Right, and Ukraine just won.
In essence, grab everything in these areas right here.
Look, you see the green line? This is what they do. So he established the green line before. Now he shows you this green line. This is the hopium that he's giving you. This is where we're going to be if we just send a few more missiles over there.
If you do that, this puts all of the Russian forces in Ukraine at risk.
It puts all the Russian forces in Ukraine at risk while they're going to go get your fucking capital, bro. They're going to go take the goddamn capital of Ukraine. They're going to arrest Zelensky. They're going to kill him. They're going to do it publicly. They're going to kill that guy.
Becomes a critical thing for the Ukrainians to do, and it also advances the goals, of course, of the Western alliance.
Congressman, there's a Russian diplomat warning today that U.S. military aid, like the package announced today, hastens the possibility of a direct military clash between Russia and NATO. Are you worried about this conflict getting bigger than it is, especially given Putin's unpredictability?
Okay, so, of course, your answer to that question would be absolutely. We cannot afford to go into a full-scale war with Russia. This is a problem, and we need to avoid it at all costs. That should be this man's answer, right?
Well, we always have to be diligent to Putin's erratic tendencies. He certainly is desperate now. He's suffering domestic political pressure, the likes of which he has never actually seen during his tenure as president. So he's starting to do unusual things. So the administration is really looking at all the different scenarios right now. They're looking
Dude, he did not answer the question. The question was, are you worried about the situation? That was the question. And you could hear Don Lemon ask that question again and listen to this man's answer, and you'll be like, am I listening to 2 different interviews, or is this a different moment in the interview? He's not addressing what he said at all, right? There's a reason for that.
contingencies. They have done this methodically and deliberately with an eye towards escalation. So, we cannot, at the end of the day, though, we cannot allow Vladimir Putin to have veto power over the way we're going to support our partners and our allies. We have to do what's necessary to put the Ukrainians in a position to win. And this is the way I've always put it. We have to be willing to do what's necessary. That includes the providing of ATACMs, that includes the providing of advanced fighters and everything that the Ukrainians need to win, that they've shown their ability to use. We have to do what's necessary to put them in a position to win. Otherwise, what we're doing is we're forcing a status quo. And a status quo will eventually be won by Russia. Ukrainians have demonstrated over the last.
So I'm just going to back it up a little bit because I don't know if you guys caught that man just pulled out his fucking flamethrower and went with it, right? And now that bitch has a big fucking flame on the front of it, like it's ignited. And now he's standing there with this fucking flamethrower and it's got a big fucking ball of fire on the end of it. And he's just sitting there, right? And look at Don Lemon's face. Watch Don Lemon's face. He's like, Don Lemon is so good at this.
They can win this. They have the momentum. They have the tactical and the strategic capability. Now it's time to finish this off by providing the support that's necessary.
Congressman, I have to ask you about this. Ukrainian police claiming today to have uncovered a torture chamber in a town formerly occupied by Russian forces in eastern Ukraine.
Happened?
Police say among the items found was a container full.
Dude, we went past where we were. How did we not back up? I don't know what just happened. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know where I was.
Necessary to put them in the position to win. Otherwise, what we're doing is we're forcing a status quo.
Okay. Otherwise, what we're doing is we're forcing the status quo. This is what I just explained to you 15 minutes ago or so, maybe 10 minutes ago. Remember what I said? I said America is sending just enough weaponry out there and money out there to sustain this for as long as possible because it's a big money-making machine, right? There should be no question in any of your minds about any of this. It's a big joke, and if you're waving that blue and yellow flag, you're the fucking punchline. And those Ukrainians that are dead, they're the fucking punchline. You need to understand that. That's what you're cheering on, because that's all what's going to keep on happening. You think Russia's going to run out of fucking weapons? You think they're going to run out of fucking the ability to attack? And dude, wait till China fucking starts funding them and giving them what they need. There's plenty of other countries out there that are supporting Russia. There's plenty of other countries out there that abstain to vote on that fucking referendum with the UN because they don't want to lose their relations with Russia. And they might just actually help them. They might give them weapons. They might give them planes. They might give them bombs.
Status quo will eventually be won by Russia.
The status quo will be won by Russia. Okay, here we go. Hold on, folks. Here it goes. He's about to pull the trigger on this flamethrower.
Ukrainians have demonstrated over the last couple of months they can win this. They have the momentum. They have the tactical and the strategic capability. Now it's time to finish this off by providing the support that's necessary.
Congressman, I have to ask.
All of that. He just burnt the whole straw man down. He said the Russians have demonstrated that they can get this done. Let's see. This is 6:45. Okay, 10 seconds. 10 seconds back.
In this, they have the momentum. They have the tactical and the strategic capability. Now it's time to finish.
That's it. You don't have to listen to what he says after that. Now it's time to. No, all that's going to happen is America's going to give just enough. Somebody's got this all figured out. Somebody knows, we don't want to. We could have won. America could have stepped in there and fucking destroyed Russia with a couple of fucking boat, missile attacks. I'm surprised they didn't just go in there and fucking and destroy fucking the capital of Russia with a missile strike. I'm surprised. And I'm not saying nuclear. I'm just saying fucking pull some boats up, a couple submarines, and just like they did for when we did it to Iraq, right? Or Iran, whoever we did that to. What was it, Iran? Iraq. I don't know. How many? Was a million of them died? Was it Iranians or Iraqis? I'm confused. I'm old. I can't remember. Iran, Iraq. Who did we go to war with? Where was Saddam Hussein was the president of Iraq? It was Iraq. Yeah, because the Ayatollah is the leader of Iran, right? So it was Iraq. We went to war. We fucking brought boats over there and we just sent all these missiles in. You know, why not just do that to Russia, you know, which we could have done. And that would have ended everything, you know. And with the support that America has with other countries, they could have, you know, they could have gotten it done. They saw an opportunity to sustain another long, drawn-out war like they did in Afghanistan. And they're, you know, if they change the venue, the people get confused. And that's what they're doing. They're just changing the venue of the war, man. The war's actually never stopped. It's just changed venues. You know, I'm going to tweet that shit. My dog's barking at a bear in his sleep. All right. I'm going to let you guys listen to the end of this, but I'm sure it's just going to be more, you know, he's going to try to make up for what he just said.
Off of providing the support that's necessary.
Congressman, I have to ask you about this. Ukrainian police claiming today to have uncovered a torture chamber in a town formerly occupied by Russian forces in eastern Ukraine. Police say among the items found was a container.
Yeah, America never tortured anybody.
Whatever. Extracted gold.
Don't give me that.
Local residents
it's fucking war, dude. All's fair in love and war. Yeah, that's
it. As a veteran yourself,
it's war.
What do you think when you see something like this?
Well, during the invasion of Iraq, when I was a paratrooper, we saw these torture chambers. We saw all the signs of the history of the torture of the Saddam Hussein regime. It's terrible. It's horrific. It's the worst of human nature. And unfortunately, it's happening with a terrible, horrific prevalence by the Russians in Ukraine. They are committing war crimes.
Phil.
They are doing
morning,
brutal terrorist things. They're using rape as a weapon of war. They are murdering innocent civilians. They are torturing and executing people. They're filling mass graves. And the only way it'll stop if the Ukrainians stop it with our support. So we have to make sure that's getting done. And that's also why, as a member of the Intelligence Committee, I'm leading an effort.
You know, no, if Russia wins, they're just going to keep torturing people. That's what he just said. The only way they're torturing people will stop is if America wins. Well, no, the only way that torturing will stop is if the war stops. How about that? If you stop feeding the war, and then Russia no longer has to fucking send missiles over, and then it all stops. You know, that's the best way. The other way is Russia wins. Russia wins, the torture stops, you dumbass. So why didn't you say that? You know why? Because this is a one-sided narrative that he's sticking to. And you guys need to pick up on shit like that when you hear it. And stop waving those stupid fucking blue and yellow flags around. All right?
To create a coordinator within the intelligence community to actually gather all the evidence of all of these war crimes so it can be eventually used for prosecution so we can bring these folks to justice.
Wow.
Thank you, Congressman. Thank you, Colonel. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too, Don Lemon. Great narrative reporting. We understand exactly what you're going for. We know the narrative. We understand the picture you're trying to paint. So, on to the Washington Post article. Now this makes total sense when you see this. Russia's airstrikes intended to show force reveal another weakness. On Monday, Russia fired 84 missiles, many at Ukrainian civilian infrastructure targets, causing power outages in many cities. On Tuesday, Russia launched another 28 cruise missiles. And on Thursday,
Valentine.
the Ukrainian Armed
I
Forces
miss
General
Jack
Staff
Lemmon. His black son isn't funny.
said Russia had hit more than 40 settlements since the day before. In all, more than 36 people were killed. But no matter how many times Russia fires at Ukraine, pro-war Russian nationalists want more, even though targeting civilian infrastructure is potentially a war crime. What the fuck is this? Pro-war Russian nationalists want more. You know, it's like, I'm sure there's plenty of people that are calling for war out there, you know? What do you expect them to do when you're over here in America waving your stupid blue and yellow flags around? You're accusing them of doing exactly what you fucking cunts are doing. Don't give me that bullshit, because that's all that is fucking bullshit. Am I right? You know, we keep sending money over there. Nobody seems to have a problem with that. It has to be done constantly, not just once, but for 2 to 5 weeks to totally disable all their infrastructure, all thermal power stations, all heating and power stations, all power plants, all traction substations, all power lines, all railway hubs, says Bogdan Bezpalko. He's a member of the Kremlin's Council on Interethnic Relations. Then Ukraine will descend into cold and darkness, Bezpalko said on state television. They won't be able to bring in ammunition and fuel, and then
Valentine.
the Ukrainian army will turn into a crowd
Enchili?
of armed men with chunks
Why
of
don't
iron.
they read the Geneva Convention instead of saying Enchili? That means their writing is phoned in hearsay.
But the hawks who are demanding publicly on TV broadcasts and on Telegram to know why Russia does not hit more high-value targets won't like the answer. The Russian military appears to lack sufficient accurate missiles to sustain airstrikes at Monday's tempo, according to Western military analysts. Oh yeah, is that what fucking people waving the blue and yellow flags are saying? Yeah, whatever, dude. I think they're hitting everything they want to hit. You know, they've got drones that are flying little bombs in there, and Iran is giving them these drones. How many drones is Iran going to keep giving them? Do you know what those things do when they hit? They've got fucking explosives on them. They destroy buildings. They kill people. It's like they're bragging about how inaccurate these things are and how impotent the strikes seem to be. When they just said in this article, didn't they just say 30 people are dead from these strikes already? They are low on precision-guided missiles, says Konrad Muska, founder of Gdansk, Poland-based Roshan Consulting, said, offering his assessment of Russia's sporadic air attacks. That is essentially the only explanation that I have. Yeah, well, you don't know what you're fucking talking about. None of you motherfuckers know what you're talking about. None of you are experts in what's going on. You just have Russian names. It's fucking hilarious. You know, the guy who makes bread over on the corner said, who fucking cares?
They have remote control of unmanned aircraft. That's potentially a drone. Potentially.
Yeah, but how many of those aircraft are going to keep coming in from Iran, from China, from North Korea, from Africa, from countries that support Russia? You know? So from Cuba. Since May, Russia's use of precision-guided missiles has declined sharply, with analysts suggesting then that Russian stocks of such missiles may be low. You ever think that maybe Vladimir Putin sends over exactly what he needs to send over at any given time? Maybe he's kind of smart like that. Maybe he understands reserves. Maybe he understands doing war stuff. You know, maybe he understands poker. He's a gaming man, isn't he? He's a man of many games. He could show you 99 ways to die. I don't know, man. I don't think he's as miscalculating as all of these stupid articles and pundits try to paint him to be, you know? Tuesday's attacks mainly used air-launched cruise missiles, which are slower than Iskander-guided missiles and easier for Ukraine to shoot down, according to Muzyaka. In March, the Pentagon reported that Russia's air-launched cruise missiles have a failure rate of 20 to 60%. Dude, how do you go from 20 to 60%? This just shows you how inaccurate your reporting is. Hey, man, it's somewhere from, I don't know, 20 to 60%. What do you mean 26? Well, you got a 20 to 60% chance of living. What do you mean? Well, which is it? Is it 20 or is it 60? It's somewhere in between 20 and 60%. 20%, it could be 21%. It could be 25%. It could be 57%. It could be 56.6%. It could be 60%. You know, somewhere in between there. Not 19% and definitely not 61%. And definitely not 19 or 18 or 17%. No. It's definitely 20 to 60%. Oh, okay, Pentagon. Thanks for that information. Are you guys tracking this?
83. That's the whole Panther bits of cologne think 50%. It works 100% of the time kind of thing.
Right. Exactly. If Russia had a limitless supply of PGMs,
Drop all day. Good morning.
I think that they would still strike civilian targets because that's what the Russian way of warfare is, Muska said. I guess it's not, because on day one, the Russians didn't use all of their weapons. They didn't launch everything on day one. So it's not the Russian way of warfare. He said analysts did not have confirmed information about Russian missile stocks or production levels, and judgments were based on the decline in usage of PGMs and Moscow's greater reliance on less accurate missiles. He said, this guy, you know, he's relying on the 20 to 60% stuff, you know. Okay. Putin faces limits of his military power as Ukraine recaptures land, right? That's I guess, an article that you can click on. But a clue lies in Russia's failure to destroy the kinds of targets that Ukraine is able to hit using U.S.-supplied HIMARS artillery. If we take a look at what HIMARS has done to Russian supply routes...
Holy shit. Switching to YouTube cause Facebook is censoring your speech in real time.
You're going to have to tell me what my curse words... If we take a look at what HIMARS has done to Russian supply routes and essentially their ability to sustain war, they've done massive damage to Russia's posture in this war, Muzyka said. So technically, you know, if the Russians had access to a large stock of PGMS, they could probably inflict a similar damage to Ukrainian armed forces, but they haven't. So technically, you know, if the Russians had access, they could probably, you know, you're like, okay, dude, you know, no. Muzyka, they actually failed to, he continued, they even failed to interdict, is that the word? The main Ukrainian supply roads. They failed to destroy bridges, railway intersections, and so on and so forth. And then this video, Russia steps up attacks on civilian targets in Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin is juggling so many military problems that some Western analysts are already predicting Russia's war will fail. Others say it remains too early to write Russia off, especially with hundreds of thousands of conscripted reinforcements potentially headed to the battlefield in coming weeks. Since day one, Russia has sustained shocking levels of battlefield casualties, battering military morale. It has suffered repeated defeats, including the failure to take Kyiv, a retreat from Snake Island. God, they're still talking about that. The rout in Kharkiv and loss of Lyman, a strategic transit hub. Ukrainian forces also continue to slowly recover territory in Kherson region in their ongoing southern offensive. They're taking back land that is now Russian.
Valentine.
This is
No,
get
they are
interesting.
muting partial sentences like damage to Ukraine, destroy bridges, and posture of war, and then they mute you for 5 seconds afterward. Big Merc 83. If it is true conscripts quotes, that is somebody with low morale, that is undertrained and probably young or old.
That is so weird Facebook is doing that. Russia's military mobilization also remains in shambles, with angry draftees posting videos online almost daily complaining of insufficient training and poor equipment. Moscow police raided hostels and cafes on Tuesday to grab men and deliver them to mobilization points, and military recruitment is continuing in Russian prisons, according to independent Russian media site SOTA. They're just so desperate for people. Putin confronted by insider over Ukraine war, U.S. intelligence finds. Lawrence, is that the same intelligence that gives us the 20 to 60% number? Lawrence Friedman, professor of war studies at King's College London. Oh, great. He probably also writes for the Daily Mail. Wrote in a newsletter that Russia's escalation of missile attacks on civilian targets Monday had achieved no clear military gain. Dude, he wasn't making a military gain. We all know what Vladimir Putin was doing, right? He was going after the infrastructure, all the power stuff. He's freezing out the civilians. We all know what he was doing. He was going after shit in apartments and fucking
Drive.
high,
Not happening
high
here
residential,
on YouTube.
large
Facebook
amounts
has a delay
of people,
keyword sensor now.
densely
More AI
populated
control.
areas. He was going after the fucking electrical poles and shit. It was pretty obvious what he was doing. So achieved no military gain. Yeah, right. Well, that's true. It wasn't for whatever you think, it wasn't a military gain because he didn't take out military targets. You can write that however you want, but he killed 30 people. When you guys killed 5 people,
83.
he just killed 30 in response to your 5.
Is a fancy way to say draftee.
And he might just let up right now and just be like, "You guys ready to talk yet?" He might just be like, "Hey, man, you guys ready to talk and sit down?"
Drive. Cheers, 0G.
I just killed 30 people in 3 days, 10 people a day. You guys killed 5 people in 1 day. I killed 30 people. I took out a whole bunch of your infrastructure for energy. Your people are going to freeze to death in their homes. You ready to talk yet? Because if these guys are miscalculating and Russia can sustain these attacks, that entire country is going to go dark. They're going to knock out all the power. And they're probably going to do it on the other side of the new Russian line that Putin is declaring. I heard that they were starting to strike Kyiv. You guys heard about that, right? We're not hearing too much reporting on what's going on in Kyiv right now. Okay. Russia lacks the missiles to mount attacks of this sort often, as it is running out of stocks, and the Ukrainians are claiming a high success rate in intercepting many of those already used. Friedman wrote, "This is not, therefore, a new war-winning strategy, but a sociopath's tantrum." Dude, this is a long-ass article. So, okay, it's not, it doesn't keep going. Okay, cool. It stops right there, right? Yeah, it stops right there. Putin's need to calm his critics also explains why he has lashed out against Ukrainian cities, Friedman wrote. The hardliners have been demanding attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure for some time, and they now have got what they wanted, but they will inevitably inevitably be disappointed with the results. These attacks could well be repeated because it is part of the mindset of Putin and his generals that enemies can be forced to capitulate by such means, he added. But stocks of Kalibir and Iskander missiles are running low. Yeah, says this dude who has no idea what he's fucking talking about. He's just guessing, right? After Putin launches fucking 3 days worth of missiles, he says he's running out. Okay. It doesn't seem to jive. It seems like he's got exactly as many as he needs. As missiles strike Ukraine, Israel won't sell its vaunted air defense. I don't know what vaunted means. Amid Russia's military setback, striking at Ukraine's power grid in recent days was designed to shock and terrify civilians, starve them of energy in the winter, and break their will to resist, according to Maria Shagina, an analyst with the International Institute for Strategic Studies, a London-based think tank. London again. One apparent goal of Russia's strikes on 6 electrical substations in Lviv, western Ukraine, was to stop Ukraine exporting electricity to Europe, Shagina said. The strikes also crippled the city's power supply.
Drive. My grandfather invented modern warfare decoys to waste German munitions in 43. Inflatable tanks that could be moved by hand, which sparked rumors of American super soldiers that could lift tanks.
Now we're seeing the escalation and weaponization of the critical infrastructure, she said, adding that it was no accident that Russia had destroyed Ukraine's capacity to export electricity to Europe. At the same time, Moscow has weaponized natural gas, cutting supplies to pressure European Union countries. Well, who taught them that, man? It was Kamala Harris's amazing sanctions and Joe Biden destroying the Nord Stream 2 pipeline that went after Russia's energy first. This is where Russia takes its lead from, you morons. So why don't you talk about that?
Merc 83. Now that was funny, good one.
I'll tell you what happened. I'll give you the goddamn history. Washington Post won't, but I will. There's some intensification of the war in terms that Russia doesn't even hide, even the fact that they have attacked civilian infrastructure, critical infrastructure, Shagina added. They're trying to escalate the war as much as they can. I love the fucking projecting here. Russia's new commander in Ukraine was decorated after brutality in Syria. Okay. Muzika said, Russia, ignoring international conventions, has consistently targeted civilian apartment blocks and infrastructure in 2 Chechen wars in Syria and Ukraine. Definitely, they focus on power grid as a way of making civilian lives miserable, he said. For Russians, striking civilian areas, residential areas, and anything that can potentially impact the lives of civilians is a military objective because for Russia, the war is total. Well, maybe Russia wants, those people to change their fucking leadership. You ever think about that? They used to have a pro-Russian leader. And he's like, hey, man, that guy protected you from this. It's like paying protection, like the mafia. Essentially, what the Russians are trying to do is to wear down Ukrainians, decrease the morale, decrease the willingness to fight, and from their point of view, hopefully increase the pressure on the Ukrainian government to enter negotiations with Russia, he added. Ukraine has asked Western allies for state-of-the-art defense systems to protect its civilians and vital infrastructure. But even as NATO pledged more help, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said that getting those systems to Ukraine would take time. Unfortunately, the Western response is rather limited, Shagina said, adding that Russia is trying to use the full range of measures they can deploy against the West and Ukraine. But no matter how harsh the attacks, the hawks in Russia say it is still not enough. Yeah, and there's hawks in the United States, and there's hawks in Ukraine that are calling for more war too. Fucking A, Zelensky's calling for a nuclear war against Russia, you fucking cunt. You gonna mention that? You gonna mention that in this article? You gonna mention that Zelensky's calling for nuclear war? Have you seen, you guys know, right? Just so you know, Zelensky wants America to send nukes into Russia. I'm going to say it again. Zelensky wants America to send nuclear weapons into Russia first. First strike. Zelensky's calling for a first strike. They're going to mention that? The hawks in Russia. Now, I would say there's a hawk, one hawk in particular I'm thinking about right now in Ukraine. You want to talk about that? Russian journalist Andrei Medvedev, member of the Moscow City Council who runs a popular hardline nationalist pro-war Telegram channel, urged patience, saying the decision to bomb Ukraine into the Middle Ages had not yet been taken. Another hawk, Alexander Kotz, the war correspondent of Komsomolskaya Pravda, who has his own influential pro-war Telegram channel, said he hoped the strike signaled a new kind of warfare that would bombard Ukraine until it loses its ability to function. Yeah, I know a lot of Americans who feel the exact same way about Russia right now. That is the Wapo, guys. That is the Washington Post article. It was from Robin Dixon. It was posted 6 hours ago.
That means Zelensky wants the world to burn.
You heard it here first.
That's the law.
I hope you guys appreciate that.
He knows.
I love you guys. Thanks for watching the show.
Everybody knows except Jimmy Dore.
I will see you guys on the next one. Let's hope this came up on Odyssey Live. I just want to go check my Odyssey channel. So,
Work 83. Hashtag keep it a pin.
Here's the link to my Odyssey channel, guys. If you guys want to join up on Odyssey. Oh, I left the @ symbol out. Am I live? Dems practice democracy. It's not showing that I'm live on Odyssey. Streaming live to Odyssey right now. So.
Nick. Hashtag keep it open. Work 83. So what is Odyssey, like a new YouTube or something?
Yeah, it's like a YouTube, and it copies all your YouTube. It's free. You guys can go do this. It copies all your YouTube videos over to them. And it won't do anything like over 2 hours. So if you've got a video that's 2 hours, it won't copy over. The longest one, let me see what I got here.
Fried Drive.
151, an hour and 51
Corned beef
minutes.
and hashtag keep it a pin.
I got one that's an hour and 51 minutes. I got one that's an hour 45 minutes, hour 41 minutes. And of course, all my short videos are up there. There's a 15-minute video. YouTube is the greatest social media platform of all time. That's funny. I'm like, fuck YouTube.
Work 83. To be honest, I have a hard time juggling all the social medias already to try to keep up with work and my family and kids and whatnot. Brop all day. Hashtag keep it a pin.
Well, this one's got, let me see how many followers I got.
Big Merc 83.
I've got 0 followers.
I feel guilty when I fail to retweet a show.
I've got 0 followers on my channel on Odyssey. So, just so you know. I wonder if you can follow yourself. Be my first follower. So, okay, I guess it doesn't stream to, there's no live streaming here? Yeah, 4 hours ago.
Drive.
Oh, there are no live streaming.
Lebanese hashtag keep it a pin. Big Merc 83. Would following yourself be like the term watch your back?
I don't think they're a
Rough all
live
day.
stream service. I just think they host,
Late to the
host
news,
your
but
shit.
did you see the trans woodshop teacher with like Z-cup fake titties?
All right, you guys take care.